It may not have been pretty, but they don't ask how. They just ask how many. The New York Islanders earn another win on this homestand. We'll have our key takeaways from the win over the Ducks, our hero and go to the game, plus our weekly farm report, and a lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Thursday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. The Islanders finding ways to win hockey games. It may not be pretty, but it counts just the same. We'll break it all down for you. But first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, feel free to email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X, formerly Twitter, at Locked On Isles. And you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long, and I am live tweeting during every Islanders home and road game, so join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's always great to talk Isles hockey with you, game time or anytime. Well, it wasn't a work of art, but it was a win, and right now, it's very hard to be too angry at this team when they are stringing together win after win after win. And you look at how well this team has played since American Thanksgiving, and you've just got to be pleased. The Islanders now in second place in the Metropolitan Division. And, oh, yeah, just 4 points behind the New York Rangers. Now, Rangers do have a game in hand, but still, this has been a very nice run for the Islanders. They have now won 4 straight games, did get a point in the loss in overtime to San Jose. So the points are piling up right now for the New York Islanders. And look, overall, there were some issues I had with this game. Clearly, once the Islanders took a 2-0 lead, they got a little complacent. And that was definitely a problem. The Islanders seem to say, okay, we're ahead 2-0. Anaheim is a struggling team. We are going to win this game, and we don't need to do a lot more to clinch it. Well, it wasn't quite that simple, and credit the Anaheim Ducks for coming back and taking a 3-2 lead. Yeah, I don't blame Semyon Varlamov for any of the goals that he allowed. All 3 of them did deflect off either a skate or a stick. You got some strange bounces in this game. And, Varley, to his credit, did not lose it. He kept an even keel, made some big saves, especially in the final minute when Anaheim had a 6-on-4 advantage, and the Islanders were able to hang on to win. I did not like that stretch in the second period where the team just seemed to take their foot off the gas. And then early in the third, when Sam Carrick gave the Ducks that 3-2 lead, shout out to Jason Hernandez of Locked On Anaheim Ducks for calling that goal, by the way, in our crossover episode from yesterday. But to their credit, the Islanders bounced back. It took about 2.5 minutes, a little bit more than that, Matthew Barzal on the power play. And wow, you know, the thing I liked about this game, and there are a lot of things to like. First of all, you got balance. You had a goal on the power play. You had a shorthanded goal. You had a goal by the fourth line. You had a goal by the second line. Every line offensively, essentially getting a goal except for the third line. And, you know, J.G. Pageau, I guess, you know, assisting Holmstrom on the shorty means really, even though it wasn't a typical, you know, three-man forward group, all four lines end up contributing to the scoring. And I just thought that was important, that you're getting that balanced scoring. I can't say enough about the effort that we are seeing from Noah Dobson lately, and we'll talk more about Dobber on tomorrow's show, but 2 more assists right now for Noah Dobson. And, you know, you look at his last 10 games, he has a point in 8 of those 10 games. And 14 assists in those 10 games, a point in 8 of them. No goals, but wow. You put together that kind of consistency and you include in there 4 multiple point games, you're doing something right. And you look at the numbers now for Dobber on the season, and, you know, Noah Dobson has more than a point a game now for the New York Islanders, 29 points in 28 games. It is great to see that he has taken his game to another level. And, you know, everydayers, you know, we had the debate a week ago about who was the most improved player on the Islanders. And, you know, Dobber got a lot of votes, but the other guy was Simon Holmstrom. And guess who has 8 goals already in 28 games this year? I think he missed 1 game, so he didn't play in all of them, but 8 goals already. And to add to that, leads the NHL in shorthanded goals. And, you know, that was a great play by J.G. Pageau to set it up. And, you know, seeing the chemistry right now developing between Pageau and Holmstrom, Barzy and Bo and Dobson, that is really great to see. And another shout out, by the way, to Hudson Fasching. And, you know, Fasching not going to get the most ice time out of all the players on this team. Clearly, that's, you know, not his role. But Fasching had an assist. He was a +1. And boy, did he play very, very well. His forecheck essentially set up the game-winning, the opening goal, rather, of the game. He played 14 minutes, 13 seconds, and had a takeaway. And I really love his hustle. And he also made another pass that probably should have set up a goal, but didn't quite connect. But overall, you got to be pleased. And again, everyone contributing. You had a goal by the fourth line. In this case, another one by Casey Cizikas. Julien Gauthier hustling to break up an icing call. You had just some really good play up and down this lineup, and you got to be happy with the way this team is getting it done. And again, not to say there weren't flaws in the game, not to say there weren't large points in this contest where, you know, the team kind of stopped playing the kind of game they need to play. But at the same time, you're finding ways to win. And when you have won 4 straight and you have points in, you know, so many games between Thanksgiving and now, you are doing the right thing on the ice. You're finding ways to get it done. And you got to give credit to the New York Islanders for that. We have got a lot more to discuss on today's show. We'll have our hero and go to the game, talk a little bit more about the injury situation, one defenseman returning to the lineup, another defenseman out of the lineup. So that continues. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, we're a couple of days late on this, but a player who was a big part of the 1975 playoff run, whose son later played for the New York Islanders. So let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And look, you got college bowl season coming up, college basketball, NBA, the NHL. You could use your knowledge of the Islanders. Check out the odds for the Islanders and Bruins coming up on Friday, the next Islanders home game. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So the Islanders, getting the job done, and you just have to be happy with the progress that this team made, over the last few weeks, and the fact that their blue line continues to be missing 3 of their top 6 players makes it even more impressive. And if I were to tell you, as an Islander fan, before the season started, that Adam Pelech and Ryan Pollock were going to miss time together, both at the same time, be out of the lineup for a while, and that another defenseman would go down and this team would continue to win hockey games, I think all of you would have signed on the dotted line for that kind of outcome. And I got to give credit to the new guys, to Robert Bortuzzo and Mike Riley, for coming through and providing the team with solid defensive play. And to take it a step further, got to give credit to Lou Lamoriello for bringing in those guys. I mean, Riley, you get off waivers. Bortuzzo, you get for a 7th-round draft picks. These are great short-term moves that definitely help the team. And in addition, to take it a step further, got to give credit to Samuel Bolduc, who really has been playing better as of late. And I think playing with Bortuzzo, who is a solid veteran and who I think has been a little bit of a mentor for Bolduc, has certainly helped his game. Now, as for the updates, Scott Mayfield out of the Islanders lineup. He was unavailable. He is officially listed as day-to-day. But again, with the Islanders, they tell you as little as possible, as do most NHL teams. We don't know whether day-to-day means he'll be back over the weekend or he'll be back in a week or two. So as of right now, no Scott Mayfield. But the good news, Sebastian Aho back in the lineup. Good to see Aho back. And to his credit, he was out there for almost 19 minutes, blocked 2 shots, had 2 shots on goal, gave you the minutes that you needed in this game, and got to give credit to him. Hero and GOAT of the game. This one is a little tough because the scoring was so balanced. Absolutely one player and one player alone had a multi-point game. And I'm going with Noah Dobson as my hero of the game. Dauber, 2 assists, a +2, which he and Romanov, the only 2 players who were +2 in this game. And he blocked 3 shots on the defensive end and led all Islanders players with 27 minutes, almost 26:57 of ice time. Noah Dobson, to me, is the hero of the game. As far as a GOAT of the game, this one is tough, but I'm going to go with bad bounces, because bad bounces contributed to all 3 goals against, whether it was sticks or skates or shins. Every goal scored by the Ducks in this game just came off a bad bounce. So, yeah, it's not a player. I don't think we need to pick a particular player in this instance. If you don't want to go with bad bounces, I'm going to say that the fact that the whole team kind of let down after they had that 2-0 lead. But again, the good news, they responded, they bounced back, and they were able to get the win. Now, yeah, you could talk to me and say, okay, they beat the Anaheim Ducks, big deal. The Ducks are not a particularly good hockey team right now. And you're right, the Ducks are struggling. They're still, in a rebuild and learning. And, John Gibson played well for Anaheim, kept them in the game, gave them a chance to win. But overall, the bottom line is you got the 2 points, you win the game, and you keep building that points bank up. I still kind of wonder if this team only would have won half of those, games that they had the lead and blew it and lost in overtime. Man, they could be even for first place right now in the Metropolitan Division. But you could what if all you want. We're in second place right now. The arrow is pointed in the right direction. And while this team remains far from perfect, they are getting the job done. The New York Islanders right now are playing pretty good hockey and playing well enough to win, getting contributions up and down the lineup. This last 2-3 weeks have been a really fun time overall to be a New York Islanders fan. So let's enjoy the ride as they win yet another game. We have got a lot more to get to on today's show. We will have our weekly farm report. We usually do it on Wednesdays, as everydayers know, but basically because of our special crossover episode, we moved it to the Thursday show, and we'll also have our Islanders birthday of the day. All that and a lot more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at Athletic Greens. Maybe you're like me and you want to be healthy and eat well, but it's always easier said than done. Well, that's no longer the case with AG1. With one delicious scoop of AG1 in a glass of water each day, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all these things. And look, it's one of those situations where I'm not a great pill taker. So to me, to have one supplement that will give me all the things I need at a really fair price, that is important to me. So if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, try AG1. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. So go to drinkag1.com/NHL network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL network. Check it out. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7. covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Time for our weekly farm report as we discuss all things Bridgeport Islanders. And the Bridgeport Islanders had 2 games last weekend, and unfortunately, they continue to struggle. First game was Friday against the Comets, and Utica skates away with a 4-1 win. Basically, Otto Koivula getting the only goal. He now has a 4-game point streak at this point, had a goal in 4 straight road games, but overall, Utica with the win. And, that certainly not what you were hoping for. A 4-1 loss on the road, as this is all part of a season-long 6-game road trip for the Bridgeport Islanders. Then the following day, the Islanders dropped their 10th straight road game, losing 5-1 to the Springfield Thunderbirds. Matt Maggio had the only goal for the Islanders, who continue to struggle to score. But overall, they had 35 shots on goal, but 34 saves made by Vadim Zarenko, the goalie for the Thunderbirds. And Nathan Walker had a goal and 3 assists in this one for Springfield. So 2 games and unfortunately 2 losses for the Bridgeport Islanders. And again, the Islanders right now, a distant 8th place in the Atlantic Division with a 6-15-1 record. And that is, again, disappointing. And hopefully this team, now with all the injuries to the Islanders, Grant Hutton back up with the Islanders. He was not dressed for the game last night against the Ducks. But again, you're missing key players. Ruslan Ishkakov, still the team leader with 17 points. He also has 7 goals to pace the team. Dennis Chalowski, 11 assists to lead the team. He's second on the club with 13 points. Kyle McLean, 5 goals, 12 points. Brian Pino, 3 goals, 9 points. Otto Koivula, 4 goals, 8 points. Same for Matthew Maggio. And William Dufour at least played in the last 2 games. He was back in the lineup, did not figure in the scoring, but at least he has returned to the team. And that is certainly encouraging. As for the schedule, 2 games this week, both on the road, as this is now games 3 and 4 of this 6-game road trip. 2 straight road games Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time at the Charlotte Checkers, and Saturday at 6 o'clock Eastern time at the Charlotte Checkers. So Bridgeport doing that. And then the following weekend, the road trip will close out with games at Hartford and at Springfield. Now, all road games and home games available on AHL TV. And the next Islanders home game will be Wednesday, December 27th against the Providence Bruins. So you can check that out if you want to go see the Bridgeport Islanders, future stars of the Islanders playing live. Check it out for Bridgeport. But tough times in Bridgeport, even though the New York Islanders right now are clearly playing some better hockey. So we'll take that. But look, make no mistake about it. The New York Islanders need to replenish their farm system and their prospect pool, and they need to add some talented players to Bridgeport. And let's see whether or not they're able to do that over the course of this season. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. I don't think this one was too hard based on the clues that we gave, but we're a couple of days behind right now. Monday was or would have been the 82nd birthday of former Islanders winger J.P. Parise, the native of Smooth Rock Falls, Ontario. JP, only 5'9", a $180, made his NHL debut with the Bruins in 1965-66, played one game for the Maple Leafs in 67-68, and then was dealt to the Minnesota North Stars, where he was a really good player, had 3 20-plus goal seasons with the North Stars, including a 27-goal, 75-point effort in 72-73, but was traded to the Islanders along basically within about a week. He and Jude Drouin were acquired by Bill Torrey from the North Stars in separate trades. And boy, did he add something to that 1975 Islanders team. That was a young, inexperienced team. And JP Parise and Jude Drouin were veterans. They added playoff experience, and they helped. 14 goals and 30 points in just 41 games for the Islanders in 74-75, and then 8 goals and 16 points in 17 playoff games during that magical playoff run. Put together 2 20-plus goal seasons for the Islanders in 75-76 and 76-77 before being traded midway through the 77-78 season to the Cleveland Barons. Played one more year in Minnesota before hanging up his skates at the end of the 1979 season. 890 career games for JP Parise in the NHL, 238 goals, 594 points, 706 penalty minutes, add 27 goals and 58 points in 86 playoff games. And we look at JP Parise's best game as an Islander, and this one is easy because it was his only career hat trick. It came on November 4th, 1975 at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum against the old California Golden Seals. Gil Martin, the goalie for the Seals, Chico Resch for the Islanders. JP Parise getting 3 goals, 2 of them on the power play, both in the first period. The Potvin brothers, Jean and Dennis, setting up the first one. Ed Westfall and Jean Potvin assisting on the second. And then in the second period, Parise scores again. Westfall and Jude Drouin with the assist. Islanders beat the Seals by a score of 5-3. Parise, a 4-point night. He also added an assist in this game. On a goal by Dennis Potvin in the second period. Islanders beat the Seals 5-3, 4 points out of the 5 goals for JP Parise. And of course, he is the father, or was the father, of Zach Parise, who was with the Islanders for the last 2 seasons. And I'll tell you, if you do remember JP Parise, you know how important he was to this Islanders team. And there are some games on YouTube, or occasionally MSG Network will show them on the vault, and you can see some of the contributions that JP Parise made, both statistically and by giving the Islanders leadership when the team was still so young. Thanks for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day, everydayers. Tomorrow on the show, we will preview the game against the Boston Bruins, which, of course, is going to be Friday night. And we'll also preview Saturday's game in Montreal against the Canadiens. So make sure you join us for that. And hopefully we'll have some injury updates on Scott Mayfield, Adam Pelech, Ryan Pollock. So make sure you join us for that. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.